Thanks a lot. Where's George? George, where's the camera? George, don't be afraid to take like 10. Okay? Don't be afraid to take like 10 here. Okay.
Yes.
Go on up west.
Sure you don't need a rhythm play?
I'm sure.
Listen, I just wanted to Paul. Is he in the back?
Can you turn on the radio?
Yeah.
I know a lot of you guys aren't real necessarily guitar players, okay? But I just wanted to talk a little bit about guitars because it's important to me. That's kind of how I got into this whole thing. It wasn't just to look cool and pull girls, you know. It was about the music thing. Stuff like the Beatles really got me right into it. And you know, whatever guitar you play, you know I like the ESPs because they sound great for me and they play really well. They're easy to play. But you know, this business is full of fads. Everyone, oh well, Slash is playing a Les Paul, so everyone buys a Les Paul. Okay, that's not going to change, all right? And I'm not trying to change that. Just make sure, whatever, if you're going to buy a guitar, whatever you're going to do with that, just get something that feels good for you, and hopefully you can afford without going into you know, selling everything that you've ever owned to buy one. You know, but you know. I certainly like, I'm fortunate enough to get these things custom made if I need, or sometimes I wind up with other people's custom jobs because they didn't want it, which is kind of funny. But the Floyd Rose works great for me. That's what this one's got. A lot of different tremolo arms are available, but I just, these things stand. Back in tune, so that's pretty cool. Jimi Hendrix would have been pretty dangerous with one of these things. You notice he's always tuning. If you hear like live stuff with Hendrix, he has to tune every 3 seconds. But so the Floyds are great, and I like Ebony for live. I'm a big fan of Rosewood, but a lot of the Rosewood nowadays isn't that good. I don't know why. Just the quality of Rosewood isn't as good as it was in the early 60s. Maple's great. I've just never been a big fan of it for my own playing. I tend to have a bright sound to begin with. And then the maple guitars sound bright, because that's like the hardest wood. Ebony is like about as hard as maple, or kind of similar, but it just doesn't, for me, it's just a little easy to play.
Do you insist on neck through?
No, that's the thing also. I mean, some of my favorite guitars are really bolt-ons, okay? Yeah. But live, these neck throughs really kick ass, okay? And that's important for me. So that's why, I mean, I have the luxury of different guitars for different purposes, and you'll find that depending on what what your thing is, you may need one guitar. That's what you can afford, and then you got to wind up with, well, what's going to approximate the best stuff for that. But you know, the older style stuff, I'm using a stop bridge guitar, you know. And for the newer stuff, I like the Floyd, you know, because you got to do this.
Yeah, how about Kaler? Do you use Kaler at all?
The Kalers feel strange to me, though. I know some great players.
They're a lot looser.
You know? Right.
So also, they don't keep them tuned.
Maybe not as well, though. You know, some guys do well with it. I don't know. You know, it's all up to you know, your own playing style. I'm just telling you what I like. I also like the Duncan pickups a lot. I'll find strings. I'll get to that. The Duncans are real good. Some of the DiMarzios are real cool too. Most guitars, new guitars, the pickups that come in the guitar, I'm not too wild about. I don't know. You know, even I mean, some of the new Gibsons are good, but and they have versions of their old pickups, and I still think Duncan and DiMarzio make way better pickups. So it's not a bad idea to change now.
Is ESP your favorite just because they promote you and stuff?
No, that's the thing. I wouldn't get involved with a company. I only play guitars that feel great to me. You know, it's not like, oh well, you know, this is for free, I'll play it. It's not like that, because any of the companies would get involved with a band.
You play BC Rich a lot also.
I used to play them because I used to play them before I got, you know, into big bands, and I liked them, but a few of the ones that I wound up playing were pretty cool, but they weren't as consistent as the ESP stuff, and that's why now I don't even use any of them.
Sorvells and Jack.
I was hip to them when they were really popular, and what I found, this is why I kind of really got hot on the ESPs, is that there was nothing wrong with a new Jackson or the Charvels. The American-made stuff is what I like. But they were harder to play, at least for me. There's something about, and it's the same thing. I'd have a bolt-on ESP and I have a bolt-on Charvel, and something about the Charvel, it was, you know, great solid guitar, but it was just tougher to play. And I don't know, when I was growing up, I used to have like an SG, and I had a Fender Strat, and they were all real easy to play, you know. was easy to bend the string, and the Charvels just had a tighter action or something, which
The neck
maybe
or-
for a speed player that's better. I don't know. But so I got rid of all the ones I had. I realized I'd rather just have. I
Only
like
the ones on the
ESPs.
video, the Kiss video magazine.
They were all either stolen or I got rid of them. Yeah.
On the album, I'm curious, are you playing the rhythm also?
I play rhythm on most of the songs, so some of the songs
Does Paul
it's just
actually
Paul.
get in there? And,
Oh yeah, yeah. All the stuff that Paul writes, especially, he'll lay down the rhythm first too.
Yeah.
So
But you do a lot of
It's actually just Paul doing that.
Oh, really?
And I'll just overdub like
can do
the rhythm stuff, you know. Though I'll sound just like him.
How about
if I
the
want.
bass?
Yeah, you play bass on the song.
You
There's
do
a couple
bass
songs I
on
play bass
Which ones you play
forever
bass?
and Hide Your Heart.
They're not much
Oh,
for
Gene, you play bass on
musicianship, eh?
I did. No, I did.
Yeah.
That's more to do with just style, you know. That bass was one of my first instruments too. It got my hands real strong for guitar playing. So
They're concerned about a lot of other things, Gene and Paul, and
It's not so much that, it's just Gene's style is real like, he really pushes
You can tell
hard.
on,
And Forever is like a, it was always meant to be something that's like a
ballad.
sweet ballad, for the radio, that people, it's going to give us a big shot at a hit. And what always happens, it's not like, oh, well, Bruce did it already. It's like, I'll do it because I'll fool around with it with Paul, let's say, and then Gene will go in and try, and then we go, well, I think we better keep Bruce's, performance,
Is that true with Eric Carr too? Because I heard you play.
Yeah, he played bass on a song before I joined the band, and that's weird because he's not real good, but if he has the right feel, then you go with that.
I still love you.
I mean, that's real important that the egos in the band are not into this thing where it's like, well, I'm the bass player, I gotta do it, or
but you say that Gene's got that, like, the real
aggressive
beauty style, but
thing,
live he's doing, is it him live?
Oh yeah,
But live he's got,
well, in the studio everything gets magnified a lot more, and that's
Yeah.
why you gotta be, you gotta go with what's best for the performance, no matter who played it,
Paul's
So
using-
even Paul played bass on Crazy Nights on one song, so that happens. And Gene played rhythm on some of the new album, Cadillac Dreams. It was me and Gene. That stuff in the background, that's all Gene. Oh, you got the feel, you do it.
Paul's using guilds on this tour, right? The guild?
Well, no. The only guild that he like got a whole one for a video.
Yeah.
But no, he's not using guilds. He's using actually some new Les Pauls. He got some of the really like beautiful top grain wood ones, And I'm really glad because I was sick of the Steinbergers for him.
I was trying to learn
That's for sure.
How you tried today, and they never came out with transcription. Is it on it starts on B minor, right? How does it?
Yeah.
I always tried to see.
That's not what I'm playing. I'm just doing a pick.
Yeah.
And my solo.
Higher chord down there.
No.
On the album, no?
No. There's not a lot of positions for these like metal chords,
Bruce, going back
but
to
we
the
split
guitars.
up. Sure.
Okay, Mr. Lynch first really hit the market with PSP.
Yes.
Not that I'm saying Mr. Lynch is better than you, okay?
Well, he's a great player.
But
There's no doubt.
he's a screamer, right?
Yeah, he sure is.
Did you like first notice the guitar through him playing it?
No, I was, being a New Yorker at the time, I got involved with, I knew of ESP as like a parts replacement. I used to have an old Strat, and the neck wore out, literally. I had, if you have a 60 Strat and it's had a couple fret jobs, next thing you know, you have no fingerboard left. Right? There's not enough rosewood to do another fret job. So I got an ESP neck, and they were new then. This was like, it had to have been 1981 or something like that, a real long time ago. And then they wound up making Strat copies and this copy, and then they started getting, I really got hip to them when they got into stuff like this, the Horizons. I just thought that was real cool.
I have to agree with you though, ESP is far superior guitar in the market.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're expensive. A lot
You
of
don't
it has
see
to do
them
with
around the music
the
store.
yen and the, they try to be a smaller company that makes quality,
Like Jackson the same.
they're involved with making Kramers too. People don't really know that, but the Kramers are more cranked out, It's kind of like maybe a Mercury and Ford, and they're related, but, it's kind of the same parent company behind. But I don't know if ESP wants people to know that they're involved with Kramer or not, but, it's just, they make sure the ESP stuff is smaller, on a smaller scale, and there's less stores to carry them because of that.
Now
They're
that,
really good. You pick one up. There's been time put into it.
now that you're not on camera and no one's around, what's the real plans for Kiss?
Except for you guys.
Yeah. What are the real plans for Kiss?
Well, everything what you've been hearing is true. We're going to do this tour until
November.
I don't know if we're going to do a world tour yet. I'm not
Just
sure,
North
but I know.
America?
I know for sure we'll be out until November, okay? And the tour's been doing very well, which is, we're real happy.
Yeah, a lot of the shows Canadians are canceled, like
Which show?
Calgary, or wasn't BC canceled?
I don't even know that they were even on sale. All I know is
Niagara
that
Falls.
we're going to play in October, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know which shows you're talking about again. I think it's too soon to know.
They were never confirmed, those shows.
Thanks.
Well, I always was into the whole, you know, British rock at first, you know, from the Beatles to Led Zeppelin and stuff like that. And then when my older brother plays guitar also, and he knew Paul and Gene from auditioning for them way back. And then we did a Meatloaf tour together, actually. So at some point when they realized, well, Ace is not going to be the guy, and then they had Vinny for a while, and you know they asked me to help out. You know, Mark got hurt. So you know the new thing, that interview and the Guitar for the Practicing Musician, that's all pretty truthful, especially shit I say. I think sometimes I'm more honest than some of the other guys.
But if Mark, if he had Derek Redfern, why did he just go and start up another group? Why wouldn't
I think he did.
He did. White Tiger.
No, I said why did he? Like, why would they accept? Why would they work with a guy who might be on the road and the next thing you know?
Oh, they had no idea that he was going to get sick. You know, I think
Not Kiss, White Tiger. See, because now he'd already had the history.
First of all, it's his band, right?
What's your situation on vocals? Are you ever gonna try singing something?
You know, I'm not a lead singer. I can sing some support, you know, vocals, and the bands I played with before, that's what I did too, you know. But I was never a lead vocalist. I always, you know, kind of, guitar was my thing.
I noticed on the Animalized thing, you sang a lot of backup.
Yeah, but that's, you know, that's cool.
What's the deal with
It's all right, not everyone's a lead singer, you know. I mean, I think the Beatles made Ringo sing, you know.
Get your buddy out of the way.
Step up?
Yeah, I'll play something in a second.
Can't get
What's going on with, there's a lot of talk about solo albums again, is that just Paul and Gene maybe firing one, or are you getting?
Supposedly, and this is the truth, you know, in the contract with Polygram, since they were, of course, the original members, they always said that, look, whenever you guys want, you know, you guys, meaning Paul and Gene, could do a solo record. You know, I don't feel that wonderful about that, but I don't have any control of that. That's all politics and business. Remember, music business.
Yeah.
Sometimes the second, you know. And I think, you know, I know if I got to do my own record, it would be killer. I also know it might threaten them.
Yeah.
But I can't, you know, I don't have a contract with Polygram. Kiss, as Paul and Gene from 20 years ago, whatever, has the record deal with Polygram. One fun thing I got to do, which I think is going to be real cool, is this track for Guitar for the Practicing Musician, that magazine. They put out their own record, you know. Last year they had 10 different guitar players, and now they're doing volume 2. All right, and they asked me to do a track actually last time, but we were real busy then. So I got to do a track. It's not mixed yet, but it's me doing like something that I never got a chance to kind of
Is it kind of like
do.
Steve Vai's Patrick Morpher type thing?
No, it's not like a wild. I kept it more where Steve I got really into like, look, I'm fusion. I can play whatever I want. Which I heard this stuff was really incredible. My thing's a little more. You know, the title's called Zeptune because it's kind of like a little bit of a Zep vibe with my style, but it's instrumental, and that's going to be. It'll be out by the end of the year. Yeah, it's kind of like. Kind of thing. No, I'm just wailing over that. That kind of thing. There's actually a song that me and Paul tried to work on at one point, but it seemed like I got the opportunity to do this instrumental thing, so I said, well, forget it, I'm using it for that, because I knew it was something I could wail over. You know, sometimes you take a cool progression, and it's hard to come up with it making a great song out of it, because not everything fits a song, you know.
Yeah, so, are you guys ready on the road now? Because Paul yesterday was saying a few things about they're already planning for the next album.
Yeah, I mean,
they're looking forward to going into the studio.
Because the tour's doing real well, we should go in the studio, you know, maybe it'll be only like 2 or 3 months, wait, and then we'll get in there. I just don't know if we'll... Well, maybe we will go to Europe and do some.
Because he said that after this, they'll go into the studio, then they'll do a world tour and have a live 3 come out.
Yeah, I don't think I would love if we actually tape one of these shows.
What about the song Paralyzed?
It doesn't look like that.
It's something about Gene and Bob Ezrin.
Yeah, I was never real fond. It was just a demo they did. I was never real fond of it. I don't think you'll see it on any record.
Do you ever play any stuff in your concerts?
Which stuff?
Any stuff you've just written on the road?
No, it's real hard to do that because you don't want to like risk something. I mean, bands that are, let's say they do one album and then they're writing already for the next, and that's their thing. Then they need to maybe do a couple of new tracks and they'll try them out on crowds. There's such a wealth of material.
Yeah, that's true.
There's no reason to do something brand new. Even stuff from always the latest records are hard, you know, to do because there's something about Deuce that's so easy to play, I guess. And you know, Heaven's on Fire. It's just a natural live. You just know it's going to work. You know, and some of the new stuff. That's why every tour we plan on doing like 5 or 6 from the new record that we're supporting. You know, but usually only like 3 work. You know, this tour was Forever, Rise to It, and Hide Your Heart. And they come off fine. No problem.
What are you guys doing?
How about instrumentals? You guys planning on instrumentals ever?
I don't think it's that kind of a band, really.
Yeah,
that's why I'm kind of glad I did that track. You know.
You guys did it on, Kiss did it on,
I know they did one.
They did one with,
yeah.
First album.
I don't think so. I don't. You know, leave that to the Satrianis.
Yeah.
You know, Kiss is about a different thing. You know.
What's the deal with Whitesnake? You guys aren't on good terms with them now because
Well,
you could tell he wanted to say the name, but he couldn't.
Well, everyone.
yeah. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what Paul was saying, but I do know that the Whitesnake tour for them, you know, isn't going as well as they wanted by themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
Neither did their
so
album.
obviously, yeah, neither did the record, right? So that's gonna. And I know we got some feedback, oh, we don't want Kiss to use pyro. Hey, you know, kids come to a Kiss show, they expect some pyro. You know, so we were a little pissed about that. What are you, nervous? Aren't you a good enough singer? Isn't Steve Vai a great enough guitar player? You know, that's our attitude, you know. What are you worried about, you know? Let us do our thing, you do your thing, you know. So, you know, and I don't even know what the outcome was. I don't know if we're doing pyro. I don't know. I know we're doing an hour and a half, which is real cool.
They said
That's right, because
nothing.
they've been around, well, at least David Coverdale, he's been around as long as you guys have. You think you'd have an easygoing
Yeah,
attitude.
but even you know, just
But someone like
there's a lot of
Gene-
that stuff in this business, petty
But
stuff.
someone like Gene, he's got the attitude that Kiss is #1. We go, you know, like I thought he would
Yeah.
insist that.
But we do, you know, it's that kind of thing, you know,
It's on your
it's
hands
real
on.
interesting about Kiss. It's like a lot of new bands come out. Like Whitesnake was around a long time. All right, so they have that one huge record. Let's see what happens over the time. You know? Where at least Kiss has always been this consistent thing. You know, only a couple little times when it dipped, and then, you know, we've always been strong. So that's something to say for the fans, actually.
We got the CD, and when we getting the tickets, there was like, everyone was all pissed.
Yeah, even in the paper in the back.
We got beaten up.
Yeah. So I imagine we might have something to do with that.
What exactly is that green stuff on the tour that sort of
The ooze.
I don't know. It costs a lot of money, that thing, but I guess they're talking about we have this little prop thing on the side of the stage, and it just kind of like
It's like green ooze slime dripping out.
I don't know. Yeah.
Some
It's
nuclear
pretty
deal.
gross. I don't know. But it was just
And you put it on
another
your
thing,
guitar too,
maybe a
though.
little Sphinx-like.
You stick your guitar into it?
Well, no. I just sometimes I fool around with it. But
Yeah.
I try not to get it on motion. Actually, I'm not really used to that.
You don't break guitars much, like
Break them?
the smash them.
Oh no, we're not doing that this story.
Yeah, he's not doing that. No fire. No solos? What on with the
Well, let's do a
solos?
solo, the right
shows-
thing. Eric, I know, we want Eric to do a solo. What's weird is that Eric wanted to do a lot of stuff with some electronic.
Yeah, he's got them all up there, right?
And no, but he wanted to like expand it to other things. And then he
Yeah.
had some problems with, you know, it's very hard on the road to get
Sure.
these electronic samples, you know, when things are going to be triggered. And then, I don't know, I think eventually he's going to do a solo. Well, he'll be out in another 3 or 4 months anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't, you know, right now he hasn't gotten it together yet, so I don't
He did it the first few dates, didn't he?
one show actually.
Yeah.
But it was last year's solo, which is cool. But we wanted to do something with the, in other words, what he was planning on doing. So
Why don't you do the solo that you did on all the tours? You know, you go on your own. Like you did no, yeah.
we're not doing that song, but I do this solo in front of Rise, so just a little blues thing, which is, you know, so it's pretty cool.
You guys are doing Little Caesar, right?
You know, demonstrate all the solo that you did last year.
I don't even remember some of this. I just remember that this thing.
The hammer.
Oh, it's so cool.
Just a little thing I fooled around. But you know what? My wife loves it. That was her one of her favorite little things. But what's cool is, let's face it, you know, like when I first started playing guitar, it was like when I heard, well, the Beatles, that was more like for songs and stuff, right? But then when I heard Eric Clapton with Cream,
Yeah.
and then Hendrix, and then Led Zeppelin, it was like, oh my God, listen to these guys. This is great.
He was good in the studio, but he was kind of sloppy
right.
live.
But what he did, he wrote those songs, he produced it. It was really incredible. And I just found that until Eddie Van Halen came around, there was hardly anything fresh, you know, on the scene. You know, it was always, I listen to jazz players. It's real important to any guitar players here. It's cool to check out, you know, jazz and other styles of music, even if it's a little over your head. you'd be surprised sometimes, you know, that turn you on to something different. Plus like saxophone and stuff like that.
Let's do on Brian May.
Brian, you know, I was a big fan of his. I think he's great.
You weren't influenced by Ace Frehley, were you?
I think we had the same influences.
Oh.
In other words, he was into Jimmy Page, so I was into Jimmy Page. So it would have been hard. Actually, Kiss, again, was a band that was influenced by that, and I was already, you follow what I mean? There was no way that I would have been influenced by Ace because I was already playing and influenced by Jimmy Page.
Yeah.
I always thought what he did was perfect for the band, you know, and as the band's evolved, you know, I think what I do is perfect for the band now.
Because he used to, Paul and Gene used to go to Benny, play like Ace.
Yeah.
And then go to Mark, play like, they don't do that too much.
They don't have to, which is why I know that I was, you know, better fit for the band. You know, Vinny wanted to play real fast stuff.
Yeah, he was totally different.
I was shocked. Mark's a great player, but he was like, I know where he got his stuff. He was into Alan Holdsworth and stuff like that, whereas, you know, I think, you know, Kiss is all about, you know, more like a rhythm rock, you know, kind of thing, and nothing jazzy. I mean, that's just not the style of the band, so.
Do you find your brother got a similar style?
Yes.
I think it sounded quite close.
Yeah, in some ways we're very similar, and in other ways, you know, we're a little different. I got a lot more hair.
It's got a
It's definitely like, there's times, you know, I'll play some riffs sometimes, I'll go, God, that sounds like my brother, you know. But it's just certain things, you know, certain like things like that, but there's certain hammer-on stuff. I wanted to learn some other stuff that he just didn't get into, but that was, you know, I know he played great on Paul's tour.
Oh,
in LA.
on the album.
This guy's always like butter. I don't even use this one live, believe it or not. It's not, this one's not loud enough for me.
Studio? You did play.
Well, I got it right before the tour. I didn't get a chance to. This one's made out of mahogany. Yeah, it has mahogany sides. Mahogany's always a lot warmer than maple. So the one that looks like this that I use live is all maple. It's got a maple piece through the center. Someone in that picture in Guitar Magazine. And the sides are this this maple, but definitely the fact that it has this mahogany. This guitar probably will sound better in the studio than live. This is my bus guitar. Yeah. No, it's only, as long as you get those. The pings, it's cool. It's cool. See, you don't have to know much to play Cold Jam.
Are they doing it live?
Yeah, we're doing that.
Cold Jam? Yeah.
You know, what's funny is, in a way, yes. Okay. I think it's real good if you play guitar to understand action, all right, how to raise the height, how to do a little intonation, get it so that you're comfortable. Because you could bring it to a good repairman, and he'll, you know, they all have standards. You know, well, to bend a string, you need a certain amount of action, but it's how it feels for you. You know.
What kind of strings you got?
Oh yeah, you're talking about strings. You know, I think that there's not a whole lot of difference between a lot of strings. I'm using SIT now. When they approached me and said, hey, check these out, I was like, yeah, they work great, great. So I'm using the SITs. You know, I have a kind of strange gauges because we tune down. You know, this is E flat. It's supposed to. It sounds a little better for the Kiss stuff. Yeah, a lot of bands. It's funny. Slaughter's tuned down. A lot of groups is tuned down. You know, it's easy to sing too, obviously. Yeah. Out there, you know. Your A isn't quite an A anymore. Now it's A flat. But so like on this, I use a set of 9s, but the top strings, because it's tuned down, are a 10 and a 13. You know, that's another thing. You know, if you want, all the companies make single strings, so it's easy to get into custom gauges if you need it. And they'll all like, you know, if you ordered a bunch of sets like that, they'll do it for you. You know, but you know, I think there's only really like three actual companies that make the strings. And otherwise, it's just. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Only 3 minutes now.
Yeah, there's only like, you know, because to gear up for it, it's very expensive. So what they do is, they all have, I don't know, I find the SITs definitely do work. Do they stay in tune better? I think so, but maybe because they call it SIT. I'm not sure. All I know is I'm real happy with them, and I have no problems with them. So, you know, there were certain companies, I'm not going to mention names, I can get sued, but I used to break some other string companies' strings a lot, okay? And that obviously was a big turnoff. So that's what's important for me. They stay in tune, and I don't break them. You know, so.
How come Stanley doesn't use USB?
You know, I don't think he's been, well, BC Rich was a company he was into for a while. Then he never, at one point he was working with Ibanez, you remember, years ago. And you know, and he thought the Japanese guitars were good, but it got to a point where he just, I think he just doesn't want to play a Japanese guitar right now, and I'm so associated with it, and it's my thing, you get what I mean? And it's easier for me too. I'd rather, look, I'm a serious guitar player, lead player, let me play the guitar that I really like, and don't jump on my bandwagon kind of thing. But he doesn't need to. I mean, he's got, you know,
that Les Paul looks cool.
Now Gibsons are, you know, helping him out. And Steinbergers, I think, was a big mistake, but he wanted something light to jump around with.
Those little ones.
It seems
little guitars.
it seems like
They're good
Paul.
guitars, but not for what we do, I don't think.
It seems like Paul has a new guitar brand every tour. though.
Yeah.
What's he using this time around?
Well, I like to use different styles or colors.
Yeah, and a new Les Paul. Just a plain Les Paul.
I'm kind of comfortable. You know, he geared up for the tour. He checked out the Icemans. He had a couple
Did he?
at home,
I heard
got them in the warehouse.
I heard he's on.
And they were pretty cool, but some of them were going out of tune, and then it was just, I don't know, the new Les Pauls he got was so consistent. You got to go with what works on stage, especially when you're in front of 10,000 people, you know. We don't want any grief on stage. And that's why, I mean, my roadies, it's funny, they changed the words to Deuce, and they say, you know he ain't working hard, he works for Bruce. And it's because, well, he's very good. He knows what he's doing. And my guitars work well. I don't have problems, you know. Maybe it's because I'm not, you know, too neurotic with what's going on. I take it easy, you know. But I never have any problems. And I'm convinced it has to do with, I have good guitars that are reliable, and my roadie knows how to do the simple thing to change the strings and set it up for me, you know. So he doesn't work as hard as the other roadies. They're all sweating there. You know, they're sweating out there between Gene and Paul. But it always works. I mean, occasionally I have a little problem, something's not plugged in right or something, but you know, generally I'm real fortunate. And that's why I stick, you know, you got a good thing, you stick with it, right?
Right.
I've seen one video where you just threw your guitar on the stage.
Where was that?
Houston. You took it off.
Yeah,
and whipped it.
probably didn't work or something. Yeah, something didn't work. Well, yeah, we used to have some of those problems. Well, we had the 80, but now we're using a. We just got some new Samsons actually.
It's supposed to be
they
pretty
seem
good.
to work well. I think so. I hope so. I've only done a couple of gigs with them, so but so far pretty cool.
When you use Samsung, do you pay for that though because you're not sponsored? Does that come out of your pocket?
Not out of my pocket. The band pays for it.
Like, well, then who's your part of the band?
Yeah. In a way, I'm paying for it. Yeah. But it was.
You guys have like your own.
But all that's like expensive. You gotta spend money to make money. Right? Any playing questions?
Oh yeah, can you play No 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 over?
Oh, I forgot that one. But what? What was? I had a little flanger on it. I read a review of that album. It said, and the keyboard intro to No No No. See, you put a little flanger on it, and all of a sudden they think it's a keyboard. Just got to. Yeah, that's hard to play.
How about the solo? You know that part when you use it?
What did I play solo? I forgot. I was trying to play it a couple days ago. Let me think. Something I was doing. You know, once you learn a couple of
Can you go over the part and he only goes, here I come, baby, and here I go. That part when
the chords go down. I forgot what I played. I tell you.
you're doing some like harmonics, but I don't know what.
Oh, right. I'm doing stuff down here. It's just stuff like that. You know, but it's all like how it happens. This is about it. You see, it's different.
You hit it right.
Different every time.
Are you really spontaneous?
I remember that. I use it more.
Your solos are pretty spontaneous on the spot then, are they?
Well, when you get to stuff like that, it has to be, because every time you hit the guitar, it's, you know, it's a little different.
Was that forever like that? I read.
Well, yeah, forever, that was wild, because I didn't expect to play the acoustic thing. But
Tuned down the D, eh?
How upset were you?
sounds a
Live.
It does. Sounds really good.
Yeah, we have one of those. Gibson makes this Chet Atkins thing. That's real cool.
Last year,
That sounds great.
when you last time you toured Kiss on Crazy Nights, was that really you playing keyboards and
Yeah,
using the living?
yeah. I mean, we have a guy on stage, but I can play keyboards. You know?
That's
Yeah, well, we were goofing around with that sometimes. There's no way I could do all the parts anyway, you know. But I play some keys. But when it comes to if we need keyboards on a record, I don't play keyboards. You know, Paul has written some things where and he's not really a keyboard player, but he knows a couple chords. You know, and everybody writes that like that. Oh, I found that chord, and I found this chord. You know, it inspires you because the keyboard is a whole nother setup, you know, from a guitar. So.
If you guys fooled around on this tour, like just winging, like like last year in New England when the keyboards weren't working, you guys just started playing La Bamba and Black Sabbath and Jump and everything.
Well, we've been a little tighter this tour to fool around. Occasionally we went into something a little funny, but then one night we made a mistake on I Want You, and we went into that. Right?
The lights are great. But the part of that song, the lights.
Yeah,
I Want You, it's
I'm
amazing.
really proud of the show.
Yeah,
Put together.
lights are.
Yes, it is hot. Any other music questions?
music.
Okay. Sorry, play some more. All right.
Okay. Harmonic minor. Can you do that?
Sometimes. I mean, you know, with these guys, I'm trying to think when I went into that. Well, on Forever, there's a little. A lot of it's more pentatonic with the band. You know, we have.
You sleep so good.
Love me to hate you so I love that because there's a lot of
that was feeling in that.
I don't know why that isn't better.
Yeah, it's not as obvious as some of the other things.
You like you try to use a lot of arpeggios like in your
A lot of what?
arpeggios?
Arpeggios? You know, it's not like, you know, it's time to do that.
You do it in
ones that
Forever.
you know, like somebody's got.
Oh yeah. Like Forever is really the only one I can think of.
You know, I can do some things, but that doesn't fit the Kiss style. It's more, you know.
Guitars that you listen to now, you just go, I don't know what the hell he's doing.
Oh, a lot of stuff Clyde does. I don't know what the hell he's doing.
Like, is it no? I mean, is it like hard? Or nice?
Yeah.
How about guys like Vernon Reid?
Well, something about Vernon Reid. I think it's great in the band what he's doing. I think some of the stuff is just like any note that that's flying off his finger he plays.
But he's a good.
Where Steve Vai and Satriani, they're so schooled. Those guys spent 10 hours a day playing, studying every exotic scale known to man, and it shows. But it doesn't always fit in, let's say, Whitesnake, but it certainly fits on the solo.
Do you know Kim Mitchell? Are you familiar with him?
Kim Mitchell?
Oh, I haven't even heard of him.
Canadian.
I've heard of him, of course.
Bruce,
And
back to guitar.
I've seen the videos. He's great.
Video.
Yeah.
You're definitely blues oriented.
Right.
Shows. I'm glad that you don't play it as bullshit.
Or whatever. No, it's valid for whoever it is.
Holstein gets into the or whatever.
Right.
Like it's great for him. You're more for the band.
Right.
The band, from what I hear, sounds way better.
Thank you.
Vincent was in the band because
Right. Yeah, he was trying to inject too much
kind of a
of that too.
speed
Right.
space with
Right.
that. The band. So what did you do on your video?
The one that I taught?
Yeah.
Oh, that one. Yeah. That, it was really funny. Once I got it done, it was kind of nerve-wracking talking to the camera, But
Yes.
it was. I used to give guitar lessons, so it wasn't that hard for me to explain. I also studied theory, and in fact, I just did this thing. I mean, on that, what I wound up doing was teaching. I figured, well, I know these certain hammer, tapping technique things, so I'll show them how I learn or how I do it. And when I used some examples from Asylum, then it was right after the Asylum record. So I would take, let's say, the Tears Are Falling solo and just show like how it worked. And because I knew theory, I could explain, and you go from the fifth to the third. And I talked about it, and then it was amazing because when Paul and Gene finally saw it, I got a personal note from Paul. We were actually not working together at that point. I was off for a while. Oh, the tape was great. I can't believe, you're able to explain all this stuff. Because a lot of guys play, but they don't know what they're doing, which is okay. There's no rule for this. I don't think Harrison knew what he was doing with the Beatles. You don't have to be a studied guy to play. I mean, Eddie Van Halen, I'm not too sure he knows theory either. He doesn't know what he was anything at all. This works, it sounds good. I feel it, and that's where it matters. That's why I think it's good for people to study if they want to, if it's going to expand their playing, but you don't have to be a great player, by studying necessarily.
Who's to say that the top players
Well, I think for the guys, it's like Vi and Satriani. I almost prefer, they're both great. He's good, but too country-oriented style. The picking is more. I like Satriani style the most, actually. It's the most more blues to me. Yeah.
You have a Vi, eh?
Yeah.
He is more or less a songwriter.
Yeah, I really like what he did.
Vi's just a little bit more crazier.
Right, the new Vi thing is kind of Zappa-like, but he was into that. That's how he kind of started in the business.
Do you have a slight delay when you're playing in the studio? Like a slight one, like...
Well, I use that at home. I use it.
I use one that's unnoticeable with our group. That's it. Fire.
Yeah.
It's very it's only to fill up the sound.
Right.
Really.
Well, live, you're always going to get the.
You're going to get one no matter what, but in the studio.
Right. So in the studio, I'm always there's always some on the monitor. Yeah, coming out like an XBX90 or a Lexicon.
Any pedals that you like?
Well, I don't use many pedals. Mostly it's rack gear at home. XBX90, the Roland 3000. That's a great digital delay. And I picked up one of those old Roland Space Echoes. That's cool. It's a tape delay. Yeah, it's really cool.
I was going to say,
those are good.
my singer likes Rush a lot, and actually you like Rush a lot too.
Well, they're not one of my favorite bands, but I like that Tom Sawyer stuff.
I've always wondered if you guys pick
I don't think anybody else in the band probably likes them. It's too yeah, maybe progressive.
guitar stuff. 16. You know those GP16s that are out?
Yeah.
He got that. He's going through ADA MP1 and two ADA power amps. He's got a gorgeous sound. He's also going through a Marshall Head, right?
Right.
He's got a really nice sound, and he's been trying that out for a while. He's trying to find a sound still, but I was wondering what you think of those Roland GPs.
Most of the stuff that has a sound built into it, I'm not that fond of. But what's happening is he's putting it through a Marshall.
Yeah.
And that's going to make it sound warmer.
Yeah.